Men participating in the hero qualification exam shocked all the examiners below only because he was equipped with multiple weapons simultaneously. Everyone didn't have much faith in him, even mocking him as a clown, daring to defy the heavens and earth by imitating the legendary Phantom Shadow. After all, that was once a superhero who saved the world. However, the man displayed unimaginable strength. He easily passed the test with lightning speed. Turns out, he is none other than the legendary hero Juan. 25 years ago, an ice queen that humans couldn't withstand appeared. All he needed to do was move his fingers, could freeze the entire Pacific Ocean. To eliminate him, the Phantom's 5-person squad resolutely headed for Antarctica. However, when they endured countless hardships to arrive before Vanya, they learned a fact that was utterly disheartening. That only one player could challenge Frost Queen, and those who remain will only have a death sentence. After a moment of silence, they all unanimously decided on their choices. That is truly the strongest illusion among the 5. Phantom asked if none of them would regret it, but what met his response was a crowd. A smile filled with belief. Because of the life and death we've shared over the years, they had always trusted the Phantom absolutely. And the Phantom did not disappoint his teammates' hopes. After a 2.5-day battle, he successfully defeated the Frost Queen. But just as he delivered the final blow, something unexpected arose. Raging frost power surged into his body like a flood. Gan Wen froze him into an ice sculpture. Simultaneously, a prompt sounded to absorb the ice heart. Before it is absorbed, it will enter a frozen state. Thus, the illusions faded with the freezing sleep that ensnared the person. 25 years passed in a blink. The former 5-man team was housed in the museum palace for posterity to admire. They were hailed as She-class players in human history, the greatest martial heroes. Just today, the ice sculpture developed cracks. The Phantom broke through the ice. The hero who had been asleep for 25 years has awakened. At the same time, prompt sounded, Ice Heart has been completely absorbed. New skill, Ice Skill obtained. Soon, news of the Phantom's awakening spread like a storm. The whole world was shocked. At this moment, the illusion also learned the fact that he had been asleep for 25 years. He looked at the thriving world before him. Perhaps this is the peace his will once hoped for. Thinking of this, he removed the mask from his face. Now, the world is at peace. He was no longer needed as a hero. But the doctors who witnessed this scene were very panicked. Just when they were at a loss what to do, several men walked in, and Phantom immediately recognized the leader among them. It was his old friend, Deji. Although it had been 25 years since then, but his familiar profile remained unchanged. The only difference is, it's his increasingly sparse hair. Seeing the Phantom again, it's still so full of vitality. Dejing also let out a breath. The Phantom he knew still hasn't changed at all. Then Desheng told Phantasm about what happened after he was frozen. Just after he killed the Frost Queen, the outside world also received this news. However, this joy didn't last for even a minute, because a new crisis emerged again. A dimensional elevator appeared near the Pacific, and it opened the second layer. And there were 10 buttons on top of the elevator, meaning there are a total of 10 stages. They need to reach the highest level before they can end everything. After that, the Player Association and various parties held a meeting and sent a vanguard team to explore the second layer. And there, humans not only mastered magic and new technologies, but also obtained endless resources. That's why Heartlily became so wealthy. Wenyan Phantasm slightly pondered. Defeat the Frost Queen with myself and my companions. 5 years. Based on their calculated speed, you should have at least cleared up to the 7th level by now. Even if other players' skills are much lower than theirs, that's at least up to the 5th level. Thus, he then asked De Jin how far he had progressed in his current conquest. However, upon hearing this, De Jin's face showed a difficult expression. In the past 35 years, we just managed to conquer the second layer. With these words out, the illusion stood frozen on the spot for a long time. The illusion stood frozen on the spot for a long time, unable to believe what he heard for a long time, lay there for a while, crying loudly on all sides. The cold then spoke with anger. 25 years have passed. You guys only cleared the second layer? This is too embarrassing. But De Jing told him there was a reason for this. Because the third layer is full of lava, and if you want to eliminate the heat, just place the ice heart on the altar. Hearing this, the illusion was instantly dumbfounded, but he remained strong and calm, asking if they found the ice heart. Regarding this, De Jing indicated that they had turned over every stone in the Queen's cave, but still came up empty-handed. And this answer was already something the illusion knew all along. Because that thing has already been absorbed by him. So the Phantom generously expressed a great understanding. This indeed isn't their fault. One can only say they had bad luck. After all, everyone has unlucky moments. But if I made any mistakes, you should also be more lenient with me, okay? Hearing this, Deputy Police Officer immediately felt moved, and tears welled up in his eyes. A Phantom Watch is essential to grab. Little do they know, the real culprit preventing them from clearing the game is right in front of their eyes. Last night, the Phantom returned to the museum. Looking at his teammates trapped in ice sculptures, a mix of emotions surged within him. Now that world peace has been restored, their wishes from back then have finally come true. They can rest now. He noticed the dust on the ice sculpture, so he got up to clean it off. Just then, a notification sounded. Confirmed possession of frost skill. Magic not failed to remove seal. Hearing this, illusory pupil. Curse, he never expected this. Using ice and frost skills could rescue them? But his current mana isn't enough, so he immediately checked his status bar. To his disbelief, he found that all the attributes on the panel had been reset to default. If he wanted to recover his mana, he would have to re-level up. But that wouldn't be done in a day or two, and the ice and frost skills were crucial for breaking the seal. This is when his gaze hardened. Discovered a new title, Spring Messenger. The effect is applied for each floor cleared, could boost 30 points in ability value. In other words, as long as he upgrades comprehensively, ability points will increase. Would finally be able to harness the power of the Ice Queen, utilize for oneself. Then we can rescue our companions. Thinking of this, the Phantom clenched his fist tightly. He silently vowed to wait a bit longer. I will definitely save you all out. The next day, Phantom Su Dejing decided to return to his old profession. Dejing heard these words and felt extremely surprised. After all, the Phantom had always retired like this before. However, after some thought, Dejing, but did not approve of Phantom's military actions, because he needs to rest well at the moment, and those pesky people will definitely bother him again. It's maddening when a group of people commit crimes for their own selfish desires. The ultimate antisocial player, known as a cancer on society. And now the torment is even more rampant than before. Because there were no monitors or satellites from the second level down, so countries had no way to contain the demons. Thus, the demons could not be stopped by the nations. Hearing this, the Phantom also understood why Dejing was unwilling for him to return. The demons must still resent him to this day, desiring nothing more than his destruction. Therefore, if he wanted to return, then we can only get rid of the Phantom's title, to act under the name of Shu Junhao. So he finished it. There's no need to take such a risk for something like this. But the Phantom told him himself. You must enter the 10th layer, and he knows the method to pass through the 3rd layer. He could hardly believe it, hastily asked him about good methods. The Phantom said indifferently that it was the ice heart. I ate it up. Saying this, the Phantom secretly glanced at him with a sweat pouring down his forehead. When Dejing heard these words, he was momentarily stunned and couldn't recover from his shock. Staring blankly in place, unable to believe what he heard. The next moment, roars echoed throughout the entire building. He was so angry that he trembled all over. Finding it hard to accept this fact, he felt his blood pressure rising rapidly. How could he have a friend like Shu Junhao? The Phantom helplessly stated that this wasn't what he wanted either. However, now that he already had the frost skill, so he should be able to cool down the 3rd layer's high temperature. At this moment, Dejing also slightly guessed at the Phantom's thoughts. Ask if he is doing this to rescue his companions. That's why it has to be done this way, affirmed this illusion. After receiving an affirmative response, Desheng remembered those doctors, seeing the true form of the illusion, so he immediately prepared to do confidentiality work. At the same time, the Phantom still needs to reapply for player qualification. Because now the large unions are stronger than the player guilds, rights are greater. They will be involved in the review of the qualifications. Only by undergoing public review can one obtain the qualification certificate. That means I can't give him a backdoor favor. Need to retake the assessment. The literary Phantom felt a headache coming on. But Dejing said that this was actually a good thing. After all, if he wanted to support him, he needed a reason that could convince everyone. As long as Phantom performs well in the exam, whether it's the union or the association, they would fight to keep him on. So Phantom immediately decided to prepare for the assessment. Then, the Phantom arrived at the qualification exam for the Players Association. At this moment, the hall had gathered a large number of players waiting for the exam. Taking advantage of this gap, the Phantom wanted to listen what everyone else was saying. Using the skill Dark Watchman, enhancing his hearing, the sounds of the monsters around became crystal clear in an instant. After listening, the Phantom laughed heartily. It seems no one is particularly nervous here. Then, the top candidate began the test. With a long spear in hand, he wielded it with great flair, pushing back the goblin in front of him. Seeing this, everyone felt envious. They all thought he could easily obtain the qualification certificate. However, the illusion does not agree. First of all, the long spear's advantage lies in maintaining distance from the enemy. Yet he launched an attack from such close range. This way, it actually gave the enemy an opportunity to counterattack. As expected by the illusion, the number 1 candidate did not last long before retreating. And after watching this, the Phantom also understood the evaluation mode. Then, during the wait, it was finally the Phantom's turn to appear. The examiners Fen complained. This batch of candidates really disappointed us. Not even basic skills were mastered well. But when the Phantom walked into the venue, they all widened their eyes in shock, only to see a sword with exaggerated equipment being introduced. Bows and spears, as well as throwing knives, multiple types of weapons. This made the examiner can't help but snort in disdain. His slender appearance. At first glance, it doesn't look like you exercise much. Some people could tell right away. he was mimicking the Phantom. Everyone held doubtful gazes. They didn't think he would succeed in passing the test. However, the illusion will show them just how wrong they are with its strength. In the next moment, the arena transformed into 20 goblins. This realistic appearance made the illusionary figure reminisce about past days. Then, the goblins rushed forward to attack him en masse. Upon seeing this, the illusionary figure merely chuckled lightly and swung his long spear downward. In an instant, he dispatched the charging goblin. The other goblins noticed the unfavorable situation, instantly scattering in all directions. Planning to fight separately, the Phantom quickly drew a throwing knife. His gaze shifted to behind him. In a moment, he forcefully threw the throwing knife backward, instantly freezing. The goblin trying to sneak an attack from behind then took out a longhorn horn and played a crescent moon sword melody. Instantly rushed out, carrying Linley's aggressive assault, shooting down the distant goblin. The remaining goblins, seeing this, also decided to fight to the death. They surged forward with daggers. However, the Phantom calmly drew a scene. The next moment, the goblins suddenly attacked in front of him. The Phantom just laughed at this as a jest. In an instant, sword energy surged like a fierce wind warning. With one move, he swept all the goblins away. But this also made his whole body ache. After all, these old bones of his hadn't been used in 25 years. At the same time, witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. Witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. Witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. Witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. Witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. Witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. Witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. Witnessing the Phantom's impressive performance, the examiner also praised, originally, he wasn't just imitating the Phantom, but he has his own unique style. Moreover, he is proficient in various weapons, and the sword technique he performed at the end was truly astonishing. His understanding of weapons is simply beyond expectation. But soon they discovered a problem, which was that Phantom's ability attribute had only one skill, Earth level, skill proficient with weapons. The crowd, who were just very happy earlier in classical Wenyan, quickly became disappointed, because if the main skill is only an Earth level skill, no matter how it's cultivated, it won't become stronger, and as its level grows, it would reveal many problems. So the Union examiners, after pondering for a moment, chose to abandon the idea of bringing him into the Union, while only Daywell revealed a fox-like smile. Because of this, he could recommend himself to the association in a natural way, and Phantasm also successfully registered under the name Xu Junhao. Reobtain Player Qualification Certificate 4. Daejing's face turned ashen as he stared at the Phantom before him. He never expected this. Is adored by everyone, role model hero, Phantom of the most respected player. In private, turns out he's just a lazy bum. He kept taking deep breaths, struggled to suppress his anger. After hearing the mad laughter of the Phantom, he could no longer hold back. His anger suddenly called him off his train of thought. With bared teeth, he asked him, "Is this book really that funny? Stop reading. I brought you the Ziao you wanted." He then projected the information onto the air. These are all about the replacement potions, unconquered instance data. And he asked if he wanted to challenge these dungeons. The Phantom responded faintly with an affirmation, but this made Tokiwa feel uneasy. After all, there were traps everywhere. Monsters that actively attacked players were everywhere. If you unfortunately die in the Fuban, your bones will be left behind. Although these copy grade requirements are not high. But this actually makes it more dangerous, because this means high-level players cannot enter. So many newbies are often wiped out as a group. But Phantasm allows him not to worry about that. After all, he knows his own strength best. And does conquering it also benefit the association department? Upon hearing this, Dejing's face showed a hint of awkwardness. With deep affection, he expressed that he was just worried about his good friend having an accident. Hearing these words, the illusion also showed signs of being moved. But the words he spoke, yet it tore through Deng Jing's deep emotions instantly. Don't worry, I'm not entirely because of this, it's mainly for the benefits. Because the rewards from Fuban increase over time. So there must be a lot of experience points accumulated there. At this moment, Dejing also understood. The illusion was chosen to quickly level up. That's why it chose that place. This made him unable to help but loudly reprimand the illusion. Just broke through the ice. Why can't we choose a safer method? The Phantom expressed. He still has 4 companions waiting for him to save, so he had no choice. And since he's returning as a player, he will inevitably encounter annoying situations in the future. Before facing those guys, he must become stronger first. After hearing Phantom's answer, Dejing sighed lightly. He hadn't expected that Phantom still bore such a heavy burden of pressure. Then, he began to examine Phantom. Now you can enter the dungeon. He quickly locked onto one suitable option, named Morning's Curse. Because only one player was allowed in, so it's also known as the Newbie Graveyard. This monster appeared 7 years ago. To this day, it has killed 142 players. Then, the deputy inspector opened a box telling Phantom that this was prepared for him. And when he took it out, he was surprised to find not only was it very light, but also had excellent elasticity. Dejing said, "This is Chun and Noah's work." Hearing that, the illusion immediately expressed great surprise. That old man actually still lives. By that calculation, he must be 98 years old this year already. So the illusion immediately wanted to pay him a visit, but Dejing refused him outright. Because all demons know about the relationship between the illusion and Noah. If he went to see Noah now, someone is bound to feel something is off. He is a beginner player, yet he can meet the powerful Noah. This itself is quite strange. We can only wait for him to become stronger before visiting again. Then the Phantom put on all the armor properly. Before entering the dungeon, he needs to recover his strength first. After that simple test had already left him half dead from exhaustion. 10 days later, in the early morning of the cursed dungeon Wanyan, the illusionary phantoms were ready. He then stepped into the dungeon, start the journey of conquest. The condition for clearing the dungeon was survival until dawn, and when he entered the dungeon, the daytime suddenly turned into dusk in an instant. The surroundings exude an eerie and sinister atmosphere. From the Fuban Ziliao, it appears the conditions for passage are not difficult, and he had already investigated beforehand. Players who enter the dungeon in the morning have the longest survival time. From this, it can be judged that there is a time difference between inside and outside. If someone enters during noon, he barely had time to adapt before having to fight. So he prepared thoroughly this time. It was just as the sun was setting when they entered. Once night fell, the atmosphere in this space became even more eerie. Something seemed about to emerge. And that's precisely where the main monster, zombies, were. He casually dealt with it with a shadow clone, but he could feel there were still many punishment teams activating their skill, Arrow Reverse Night. In an instant, his perception became incredibly sharp in the darkness. As expected, the zombies around him had already rushed towards him in the darkness. For new players, these zombies are the hardest to deal with, because they have no pain sensation. If you can't kill them in one hit, they will keep attacking continuously, leaving them gradually sinking into despair. That's why it's called the Newbie Graveyard. But Phantom isn't a newbie. Each attack can instantly solve them. Just that the number is quite a bit. After fighting non-stop for 2.5 hours, the Phantom finally resolved all the zombies. But just then, he actually heard a cry for help. He followed the sound quickly to find, finally locating a coffin. The person inside indicated he came in with his companions, but all his companions are dead. In the end, he could only hide here. Please, please save me out of here. The illusory figure paused for a moment, then immediately agreed to his request. But first, he had to shout loudly to confirm his own position. He did as the one in ancient speech said. However, the next moment, the Phantom took out a pistol, crazy shooting towards the direction of the sound. After firing all his bullets, the Phantom sneered. I was wondering how more than 100 newbies ended up dead here. It turns out it's all thanks to you, deceiver. Only to see a huge zombie emerge from the broken barrel. He reluctantly asks how the Phantom knew this. That's because there can't be survivors in the Fubanzhong. If there were survivors, there would never be new challengers appearing. Although new players should have such common sense, but he was still deceived by the rescue signal. The next moment, the Phantom instantly came to the zombie's front and strangled it. At this time, he also knew why so many newbies died here. It was all because of the deceivers. At the same time, prompt sounds. You have cleared all monsters. To pass through, bear the curse of the city. Players gained a large amount of experience points. Players can increase the Phantom's level attributes also began to improve. The Phantom's level and attributes began to improve. It instantly rose to level 5 and also obtained a new skill. Wang Ling's confession skill effect, able to see the memories of the dead. The Phantom didn't expect to defeat the deceiver. To get such a skill, I hope things will become smoother in the future. The scene changes. The Phantom returned to the Player Association, and the morning curse was quickly lifted by the news of a conquest. This made the traffic officer feel elated and satisfied like a spring breeze. This time, he finally got things wrong. The Union's vigor allowed him to vent his anger severely. After all, the Union would never do such a risky thing. But the reporters kept joining them about it. It would definitely be awkward. But aren't you really not planning to reveal your identity? If we make it public now, your value will double. But Phantom said that it wasn't the right time yet. The same factory produces them. Why do people prefer famous brands? That's because rarity is valuable. Not everyone can afford them. That's where the charm of famous brands lies. Does that mean you want to become a famous brand player? Phantom smiled smugly at this. My aspirations are much greater than this. At this moment, Dejin also understood his thoughts. He did this simply to keep everyone on tenterhooks, but that would just be annoying. However, Phantasm indicated it wouldn't last forever. To find out the strategy, who in the Morning Curse dungeon is actually the one who triggered it? Everyone will definitely pay attention to the other strategies for clearing the dungeon. So those reporters will wait outside the dungeon. By then, he just needs to walk out confidently. Naturally, everyone will know he is that humble hero. Kazuya whispers and makes a disapproving face. Force you to act cool completely. How dare you say that you are low-key? The scene changes. The Phantom is conducting strength training, and after completing 250 handstand push-ups, he collapses exhausted on the ground. At the same time, a notification sounds indicating an increase in power by 1 point. After a brief rest, he will bring up the dungeon guide to check it out. Soon, locked a copy named Tree Gold Garden. He appeared on HBO 9 years ago, and it has never been conquered. If the copy is left idle for too long, the monsters inside will escape and harm humans. This phenomenon is also known as opening the door. Therefore, the Player Association worked to prevent this from happening. Promised to give substantial rewards to those who pass through. So many players from H country began challenging, one after another. However, the final record was a dismal 124 wins and 124 losses. With no other choice, the Association of H country could only seek help overseas. They hired the foreign, up-and-coming player Taché at a high price. He is someone whose strength should not be underestimated. The genius archer. Just like the divine arrow shooter Green in Wu Yu Home, perhaps even stronger than Green. However, with Thatcher's failure, the hope of conquering Trajing Garden once again fades away. This young star has thus fallen from the sky. Therefore, he must prepare thoroughly. As time passes, although I've undergone previous strength training, let all attributes except magic points be preserved, increased by 30%. First time? This is quite impressive for players at our level to release essence. But was rejected by the world. Disappointed, Thatchel even failed. Explained that this copy is really dangerous. He must prepare for all possible emergencies. Everyone has thought of the response plans, however, there is some good news. He is now proficient in using ice and frost. The scene then switches. Phantom entered the Sprite Wood at this moment. The condition to clear the level is to eliminate all monsters. But this makes Phantom feel off, because the previous challengers were always in groups of 4. Even if the number of tree spirits is more than enough, it shouldn't result in a total wipeout like this. Could there be an unknown trap hidden here? Thinking this, he immediately looked around, left and right, checking all around him. Soon, he discovered a jungle maze below. However, for safety's sake, it would be better for him to stay inside the flower pavilion. Time came to evening. Under the glow of the moonlight, the tree spirit gradually emerged, and the Phantom had been waiting for a long time. In the next moment, it raised its spear and went in time. Seeing this, the tree spirit's arm transformed into a long whip to launch an ambush attack. Upon seeing this, the Phantom's spear pierced the ground, leveraged the force to flip up and dodge the tree spirit's attack. Meanwhile, ice shards glittered in his hand. Please guest room condenses into a ice frost long hair. Then he abruptly moved it out. The long hair pierced through the tree spirit like lightning. The Phantom regarded the long fur formed by Frostbolt skills, praising, truly worthy of the Ice Queen's skill. At this moment, an ambush came from behind. More tree spirits rushed towards him, but the Phantom showed no fear to this. He raised long hair and charged into the forest, slaughtering everything in sight. In just a moment, he had eliminated them all. Before he could catch his breath, another group of tree spirits appeared behind him again. The number was even double that of the previous group. This made the Phantom break out in cold sweat. Do they grow exponentially then? Then the Phantom again with the tree ant. At this moment, his pupils detected danger. The frost power rapidly gathered in his hands, instantly forming an ice shield, defending against the tree spirit's assault. But under the fierce attack, the ice shield couldn't hold on for long, as the bottle shattered into pieces throughout its life. But the illusion had prepared itself beforehand. In the next instant, the long hair in her hand sliced through the air with a whoosh. Naven severed all the tree ants before her. At this moment, the illusion had been fighting non-stop for 2.5 hours, and the proportions were greatly consumed. However, although the number of tree spirits was many, but it's not that difficult to the point where everyone can't pass. This makes him always feel something is off, because players who entered instances over 9 years, there weren't a lack of geniuses. even including the new talent from abroad, Thatchel. If he could handle so many druids alone, then wouldn't it be even easier with companions? But why did they all fail? These doubts lingered in the Phantom's mind, as he slew the last tree spirit. Thus, I also recalled the strategy for conquering the Sprite Garden, and the rise of the sun, also marking the end of this Fubun's conquest. The Phantom appeared unnoticed, arrived at that jungle maze. After pondering for a moment, he stepped into one of them. The path through the maze was littered with battle scars. He guessed it was due to being chased by tree spirits, but without the ability to resist or repel the constant influx of tree spirits, he might not escape alive in the end, because there seemed to be no exit from the maze. Just then, Phantom discovered a corpse in the corner. The long how on his hand gleamed with a dazzling smoothness, and Phantom immediately recognized this weapon. Storm skill. Using his sword to create a gust of wind when he shoots, that's why it got its name. The owner of the storm is Thatcher, meaning that this corpse belongs to Thatcher. Right then, the Phantom noticed a diary in the corpse's hand. It recorded that Thatch was invited by H Country and entrusted with the task of conquering Shijing Garden. He brought his wife and old friend, as well as friends his wife had found. The four of them entered the dungeon together, and the process of conquest is akin to that of a phantom's. The group of tree spirits doubled in number each time they appeared. There were too many for them to handle. Eventually, they could only retreat into the labyrinth, and not long after that, his old friend died from excessive blood loss. They held on tenaciously, surviving wave after wave of tree spirit groups. After the fifth wave passed, his wife also died from severe injuries. Just as he was bearing the pain of grief, the last teammate raised their weapon towards him. Although he reacted in time to dodge the ambush, at this moment, his heart was incredibly shocked. He never expected that his wife's friend was actually a demon. His goal was to attack during the storm. The sixth wave of more tree spirits had already appeared. He turned and quickly fled. And that annoying person was torn apart in an instant by the massive group of tree spirits. However, the annoying person had also poisoned the dagger. The poison spread rapidly. In the end, he could only flee into the maze. But the camera showed a dead end in the maze. He ultimately could not escape death. He wrote everything in his diary, hoping that if someone finds it, they can help him apologize to his companions' families. I really wish the damned tormentor could go to hell. After reading the contents of the diary, the doubts in Phantom's heart have finally been resolved. Originally, this copy was based on the number of people who enter calls for the number of tree spirits. He said only one person. The quantity naturally isn't that much. It would also make it easier to conquer. If he came in as a group, the consequences are unimaginably severe. Then the Phantom looked at the storm palace on the ground. Turning around, he assured Thatch's skeleton, "I will definitely help you seek revenge and bring justice." The scene changes. The Phantom returned to the Player Association. Just as Phantom predicted, they didn't reveal a single bit of information, yet let the whole world know he is the one who cleared the challenge. And the foreign leaders also asked Jing to convey their gratitude. They are very grateful that he found Thatcher's diary. It has already been returned to his family. When mentioning this, Jin feels extremely regretful. This storm palace, a national treasure-level Zhuangbai, surprisingly disappeared with Thatcher's departure. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the storm palace appeared in the Phantom's hand. Desheng was left dumbfounded by this scene. His new eyeballs almost flew out of his sockets. How could the storm palace be in your hands? This is something from a foreign government. How can you keep it for yourself? Desheng was so infuriated by Phantom's actions that he nearly went mad. Phantom scratched his head and said he would return it after using it. But how will you explain this to the foreign government then? Is it said that Thatcher, who has died, lent this to you? Hearing this, the illusion made him not get excited. He did this for a reason. The main concern is that it might steal him away, because dying in that dungeon is such a pain, shouldn't be the one pulling the strings. Though it was claimed that the Stormhow disappeared in the dungeon, but the mastermind behind the scenes definitely wouldn't believe. And Moron values his equipment more than his life. A madman who values it more than his life. So the mastermind behind the scenes discovering that the storm attack is in my hands will definitely try to get close to me. When he mentioned this, Day recalled a demon. Demon Hao Kalsigner rumor. He is a madly obsessed demon collector of bows and arrows. He is now wanted by the entire world. It seems it's due to the level restriction of Shujing Garden. Therefore, he cannot enter the dungeon himself. So if he locks his gaze on you, he will definitely be there when you enter the dungeon next time. Send someone along as a companion. Maybe the people he sent are even stronger than last time. Thinking of this, Jin feels extremely dangerous. They might as well just tell the kingdom now. But the Phantom smiled confidently. As long as he was prepared, there won't be any problems at all. Besides, do you think I would so easily be defeated by someone who torments me? Wen Yen. Jin looks at Phantasm, falling into silence. He leaned on his shoulder after halftime. Although I know you're not afraid of them, but I still don't want you to take any risks. Hearing this, the Phantom chuckled lightly and said, "There's no need to worry. Don't forget that I'm that person who fears nothing in heaven or on earth. Shu Junhao, right? I won't repeat the mistake of Fu Min from 25 years ago." Upon seeing this, Jing sighed softly. Now that it has come to this, he can only choose to believe in the illusion now. After all these years, he hasn't changed at all. At this moment, the bell of Dejing rang. Many reporters came from outside, all here to interview him, gatekeeper. Hearing this, the Phantom lightly stroked his chin, thinking of a method. Since the grueling battle is inevitable now, then he will hold a press conference, to formally declare war on them. The press conference was quickly prepared. Journalists were intensely discussing Xu Junhao, this rising star. It's gradually ascending. First, he conquered Zizhuang in the morning, then he cleared Songjiang Garden. A player like him is virtually unattainable among many players. Afterwards, the Phantom wearing slippers appeared amidst the crowd. This greatly shocked the reporters. Hard to believe, this person in front of me. Even just players who have not yet conquered 2 additional dungeons. Seeing everyone's performance, the Phantom also guessed what they were thinking. He was busy grooming himself every day during the Phantom period. Now I'm already tired of it. He yawned next. Tell everyone it's only 30 minutes left. Anyone who has questions, ask now in classical Chinese. Many people asked him various questions, and the Phantom replied one by one, responding fluently. After all, he used to frequently attend such occasions. He could say, handle them with ease. Especially when someone asked him, which dungeon will you challenge next? Upon hearing this, the illusionist gave a mysterious smile. That's indeed hitting the nail on the head. After a moment of silence, he slowly spoke up. My next challenge will be the East Sea dungeon. With these words, the scene immediately boiled to the extreme. The Phantom's response drove everyone crazy. He just conquered a dungeon that no one had ever passed through before, yet it shocked the entire world. Even succeeded in doing so, the country becomes the safest place in the world. Just because he is a superhero who saved the world. Slain the Frost Queen with one's own power. The cost was being ice-sealed for a full 25 years. Now, the legend returns. But chose to do so with a new identity. Continued to contribute to this world. Not only did they conquer what is reputed to be a beginner's level, the Morning Curse, and swept through the Nightmare Dungeon where it had never lost a battle, the Garden of the Tree Spirit, now they are even making a grand announcement in front of everyone. He will challenge the East Sea Dungeon next! These words caused a commotion among everyone, for you see, that was marked as an ultra-high difficulty dungeon, and it's one of the unexplored dungeons left by H Country Jin. There are extremely powerful ultimate monsters inside. If ordinary monsters are Shao Ding, then the ultimate monster is their commander. The difficulty of this copy is self-evident. If he can clear it, it will achieve a win streak. This would be unprecedented performance. But for this outcome, everyone holds a skeptical attitude, because Phantom's current identity is just a new rookie debutante. However, Phantom confidently smiled, making a grand declaration in front of numerous media. Keep an eye on it then. I will definitely defeat the Central Discipline Inspection monster. Very soon, the Phantom's grand words quickly spread. People began to discuss this matter intensely on all sides. On the other side, a man named Rao watched the topic about the Phantom with interest. He didn't expect a new recruit to cause such a big reaction. It's been a long time since we heard of such good news coming from the first floor. The subordinate, using classical Chinese, inquired if they should make contact with him. But the man merely laughed and denied it. He is still far from it now. Just making one achievement so far, people might think it's just a coincidence. And if it happens twice, everyone would consider it a sign of strength. But at least he needs to see the result for a third time. He will consider what to do next. Upon hearing this, his subordinate's heart couldn't help but beat rapidly. He didn't expect that a mere new recruit could receive such attention from this great man. To know the man in front of him, however, the top domestic union's Phantom at the same time. Meanwhile, Illusion was reviewing the commission pill in front of him. Because of that press conference, he has already become a hot figure now. Various commissions are flocking in. However, as his first assignment, he first needs to consider the rewards in the Fuben. Next is the difficulty level. The final payment is from the client. Then the detective found a suitable one. This is a father's commission. His daughter has an incurable illness. The only remedy is the Firefox's inner core. Phantom had once defeated Fox Phantom in the past. 3 months ago, a dungeon called Roaring Hot Sand Dune appeared domestically, although it hasn't been officially classified as an unexplored dungeon yet. 7 teams have already died inside it. Hearing this, Phantom's brow furrowed slightly. This Fox Phantom dungeon. Compared to his grooming period, the level restrictions for conquest are more strict. In other words, it will be more challenging than before. However, Detective told him that it wouldn't be too difficult after all. After all, the player's skills have improved significantly compared to before, and their equipment is also much better now. Upon hearing this, Phantom let out a light chuckle, though he says that, nevertheless, since his return, he hasn't met any outstanding players yet. This is a good chance to see the strength of new players. At this moment, Dejing's style changed and told Phantasm, actually, this was a commission from someone he already knew, Chairman Juping Hao of Ninghao Group. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. A woman with short golden hair in a business suit came in, while it is precisely Divine's secretary and manager arranged by Dejing. For this illusion, it also feels more reasonable like this. After all, he was a new recruit like him. Let the president of the association handle everything. Come to handle it personally. The poet advances and exchanges punches with the Phantom. Next, he will go meet the commissioner with the Phantom. The chairman of the residence, then the poet drives the phantom to the famous Hao group and tells him this is the wealthiest company in H country, never evading taxes. The reputation is also very good. However, their family's happiness was shattered by a disease. Chairman Hao's daughter has the 9 yin absolute pulse. People with heavy inherent yin energy are easily prone to this disease, and to treat it requires essential medicinal materials, which are the Foxfire essence core. It happened 29 years ago. The strongest player Phantom once defeated Foxfire. As Shen En said this, Shifeng paused for a moment, indicating that Phantom is also the most respected player to him. Little did he know that the person involved was sitting right behind him, making Phantom's face slightly flushed with embarrassment. Soon after, they arrived at Ju Pinghao's home. Not long after, Ju Pinghao, accompanied by his butler, came out to greet them. Greeted and warmly shook Phantom's hand, indicating he had been waiting for a long time. As he spoke, his body gradually trembled, his voice also became hoarse. It was clear that he had already been exhausted from this matter. Bowed deeply to Phantom, pleaded, begging you, please save my daughter. Moments later, they sat and talked. Ju Pinghao immediately showed sufficient sincerity, indicating a willingness to pay a commission of 90 million. As long as he could obtain the Foxfire core essence, he was willing to agree to any conditions. Wen Yansheng felt extremely shocked, privately thinking that with so much money offered, the Phantom should agree immediately, right? Though this isn't very reasonable, but Phantom remained silent and unswayed by it. Ju Pinghao could only sigh lightly, doubling the reward once again, giving him 180 million. However, what was unexpected was that Phantom refused with a white head. 60 million would suffice. These words out of your mouth, everyone is wrong and evil. Standing there dumbfounded, Kotaro asked him why he only wanted this price. He gave the reason. As far as he knew, the Phantom had once accepted a similar mission. Although that country billionaire was willing to do so for him, exhausted all family assets, but he still only accepted 60 million. And my reasons are the same as a Phantom's. I can't exploit people's desire to save their families by showing them money-making scenes. The scene of making money changes. The two ended their meeting and returned to the Player Association. Although he inquired about the Phantom matter, how did he know that? Upon hearing this, the Phantom couldn't help but laugh and cry. Of course, one knows best about their own affairs. But for the sake of keeping his identity confidential, he said it was told to him by President Shen De-jin. They were once good friends, everyone knows this. Even Shui En-ching, who lived a life of filial piety, believed what he said. After all, someone as kind as right addiction would definitely not make money for the sake of conscience. This surprised the Phantom, asking him why he felt this way. Shui-en said, because of what you said, I am even more certain now. If the other party is poor, I can guarantee that the Phantom would not charge for it. Because I heard that he personally witnessed the deaths of his parents, so that's why he doesn't want people to suffer like him. To save their loved ones and go through the same pain. The scene changes. Illusion meets De Jing and asks how he feels about his new secretary. Illusion says, in a short 2.5 hours, for now, there's nothing noticeable. De Jing laughs heartily. You'll be able to see his value from now on. With his credentials, entering a famous guild is not a problem at all. But he did it for the illusion and choose to stay and work at the guild. I am truly very grateful to him. Then, De Jin brought him to a secret room. Inside are stored various weapons. Over the past 25 years, human technology has rapidly advanced. Many new technologies have been applied to weapons. They can significantly boost players' combat power. Then, he took out a sword and threw it to Phantom for him to try. Phantom infused magic energy into the sword. The next moment, the blade emitted intense sword energy. De Jing told him he only needed to inject a little magic energy, could easily push strong sword energy to defeat enemies. But the Phantom stared at the long sword, lost in thought. Just as the police officer De arrived, talking non-stop about these equipments to him. The Phantom, however, interrupted him. Are all players using this kind of weapon now? Taegu encouraged and gave an affirmation. After all, everyone wants to use more advanced weapons. Even the top players use this, or they use even stronger, customized versions. But when Phantom heard this, he furrowed his brow, saying that these items are utterly useless against true monsters. If enemies can prevent players from replenishing their magic values, then these weapons would be nothing but scrap metal. You know, why do new players only fight low-level monsters? Because they can't defeat stronger ones. In other words, everyone advances under fair conditions. Through continuous battles, they continuously accumulate experience to grow. These so-called high-tech elements actually suppress players' potential. This is translated by Phantasm Eyes. Noticed a long sword in the corner, Toki said it was forged from new materials. Since no additional functions were added, it just sat there. So the Phantom immediately prepared to signal for the attack. A sudden charge broke through the air. The whirlwind created by the sword tip instantly stirred around in all directions. Even Toki stood dumbfounded, staring at the scene. The next day, Xian brought the illusion to the Fire Lake dungeon and gave him a cup of tea water. Besides him, there were also 26 players from the guild entering. After drinking the tea water, Illusion was surprised to find the taste very novel. This is lavender tea, then please bring me another cup when you come back. And you might need to come in early tomorrow morning. These words made Xian puzzled. He asked the reason for it. Phantom chuckled lightly. He raised a confident smile. Because we have cleared it today, I will definitely receive a lot of commissions. You have to help me filter them out, okay? Then the illusion, Shadow was surrounded by numerous reporters. Come down to the dungeon entrance. This phenomenon affected the players who entered at the same time. Feel displeased, mocking this refined guy. Is he really that powerful? And he's even using such a crappy weapon? Soon, everything was ready. The crowd began entering the dungeon one by one. This time, the dungeon was in a hot desert. Some low-level newbies struggled to move around. Then a man named Gaohe came alive, attracted everyone's attention. He said he comes from H, rank 13 nation in Qinghai Guild. These words immediately caused a commotion. Because I heard that everyone in the Qinghai Guild are elites. Zhang Min made another suggestion to everyone. If you are willing to fight alongside them, can all get a prize of $600,000. However, the Fox Spirit's Essence Pearl will belong to him. Upon hearing this, everyone couldn't help but feel a stirring of desire. If the Qinghai Guild could assist them, they would be able to easily pass through the dungeon, so everyone agreed to participate, one by one. However, Phantom quietly left alone from the crowd. Zhang Min saw this and asked if he didn't plan to join. Phantom turned around and told him that he preferred fighting alone, leaving in the gaze of several people seeing this. Others sneered and said, "What kind of genius player?" It's just that the media blew him up too much. In such a situation, still daring to take on the responsibility, it's no different from asking for death. Subsequently, Phantom set out alone to find the Fox Spirit. The Fox Spirit was born at the critical point. After thousands of years of cultivation, one can ascend to a maximum of 9 tails, and with the increase in tail colors, the number of foxes they can control will also increase. When it reaches 9 tails, they will become the 9-tailed fox, commanding all the foxes. Currently, he doesn't know how many tails the monsters in this dungeon have, so now the most important thing is to explore underground. While on the other side, the Collapse team, they have already encountered the foxes. There are about 30 of them. Everyone is ready for battle, setting up their defenses and quickly setting traps. The power of high-tech weapons is also evident. They easily dealt with the foxes in an instant. At the same time, everyone called out their own tech weapons. Attack the group of morning fire foxes. Under everyone's attack, the fox was quickly eliminated by Osaka, and such an easy process, also making them start to be grateful. Good thing I joined the Queihai Guild's team. Just then, a huge shadow enveloped him. When he steadied the mirror to take a look, only to see a giant fox king appear suddenly. Looking at the bodies of foxes scattered on the ground, he instantly felt furious. An intense presence erupted immediately, and he is exactly the ultimate monster of the copy, 9-tailed fox. The crowd was shocked to see someone die. To know that, the Phantom had killed a wild beast only 6 levels ago. But Zhang Min quickly regained her composure. She called out for everyone to maintain their defensive formation. Regardless of how powerful the monster is, a stab to the head means certain death. Just prepare traps hundreds of times stronger for him. I will definitely trap him to death. Today, I must kill the 9-tailed fox, surpassing illusions. However, after the 9-tailed fox's fireworks condensed, his ambitions turned into bubbles. In a moment of guest entertainment, just a few exchanges, what he considers experience, plans and powerful high-tech weapons. In the face of his absolute power, it's like they are toys. Wanting to hunt down such monsters with this is sheer nonsense. As the flames before him flicker, his life will remain here. But at this moment, a figure stands in front of him. That was none other than the Snow Army. He looked down upon. He hurriedly shouted for everyone to quickly dodge. But the illusion pulled out a common testicle egg, indicating it wasn't needed. Just then, the foxfire in the 9-tailed fox's mouth became even more surging. In the next moment, a harmful fireball came flying towards them head-on. Just as he thought things were about to go badly for him, the illusion swung its sword like thunder and cut down with a fierce strike. In an instant, the fireball split in two. Seeing this scene, Zhang Min's pupils trembled again, her eyes filled with disbelief. However, even this next illusion wasn't easy for him to bear. His current physical strength was still a bit lacking, but he couldn't retreat because of that. He must obtain the fire kettle inner pot. Then, Zhang Min took the injured person to seek shelter. Next, it will be his turn to deal with that guy. We can see the 9-tailed fox take a step. An arrogant roar erupted. Following is the narration team. The faint flame suddenly rushed towards the illusion. The phantom dragon dodged it in a flash. More fireballs quickly rushed toward him. He cast the ice skill with a wave of his hand. Instantly, condense an ice shield to block the fireball. His figure darted forward at incredible speed. Sword 9 couldn't handle it. The 9-tailed fox also lost its patience. Flames surged forth again in his mouth. In an instant, a massive fireball was formed. Seeing this illusion, he sensed something amiss. If he gets hit, there won't even be ashes left for him. In the next moment, a fireball as big as the sky covers him, accompanied by a loud explosion that shatters everything. Instantly, a cloud of dust fills the air. But at this time, the 9-tailed fox sensed something amiss. It suddenly swings its claws towards the smoke and dust in front, and when the smoke clears, the phantom had already appeared before him. The 9-tailed fox raised its head and suddenly spat out a burst of flames, about to burn the phantom in midair tightly. However, ice crystals surged beneath the phantom's feet. An ice shield forms within the inner chamber, aiding agile movements. At the same time, frost covered it. At this moment, he had a guess in his heart. Since the more tails the fox has, the stronger its abilities are, then, if the tail decreases, it would weaken as well. Only see the phantom's form as swift as lightning. With a single swipe, it instantly broke its tail on a tree root. The pain of losing his tail made him let out an angry roar immediately. The phantom's expression was cold, said, "You might be experiencing this kind of pain for the first time, right?" He had always been able to do as he pleased all along, killed so many players. Never thought you would become the prey, huh? Hearing this, Foxfire became even more furious, swinging her claws again towards him. However, after the smoke cleared, there was no deeper meaning to it. Holding a long sword, she charged in front of him again. A single sword strike slashed at his eyes. Suffering such an attack, Fiery Fox's anger and hatred surged. Once again, several streams of lake fire rose up. However, with his lost eye, his accuracy took a hit. He completely failed to hit the illusion. The illusion rushed forward once more, brandishing its long sword in front of him. Fiery Fox's remaining eye was also chopped off. The enraged Fiery Fox flames gathered again in his mouth. Instantly, it turned into a huge fireball technique. Seeing this illusion series, he chuckled and used the same move again. "Looks like you, Chen Lo Jishong, are planning to fight to the death now." He then lightly raised his left hand. The power of ice and frost surged in his palm. Following that, he tightly clenched his fist. A huge icicle shot up instantly from the ground. That hard and chilly ice spike pierced through it. Announcing that this victory is sealed, the phantom collapsed to the ground, expending a great deal of strength. "You have successfully defeated the nine-tailed fox. Obtain the reward, Fox Heart Core." Outside the Fuben, the journalists were shocked to find that the entrance color had changed. That means they have successfully cleared the dungeon. And the time is 2.5 hours shorter than the previous team's duration. Everyone anxiously awaits who the first player to come out will be. It turns out to be Zhang Minyo from Qinghai Guild. After handing over the phantom to the medical staff, Zhang Minyo approaches the journalists. The group planned to explain the passage situation to them. See the reporters clap their hands enthusiastically, quickly asking him, "As a hero leading everyone through, what are your thoughts?" Seeing this scene, Zhang Minyo fell into silence. It turns out being a hero feels like this. When Phantom was surrounded by journalists back then, he must have felt the same way too. This couldn't help but make him think of his childhood dreams. To become a hero as formidable as a Phantom. But it seems he hasn't managed to do that yet now. Then he explained the completion status of the Fuben to the journalists. Xu Junhao is the true hero. The scene switched. The Phantom woke up in the hospital. He opened his eyes to see Shen En sitting beside him. While he was unconscious during this time, he had been sorting through the received commissions. Just as he said before, there would be many indeed. However, the illusion only gave a slight nod and was about to leave. He is now eager to meet the chairman of the construction company. So let's head out now. Right after clearing the Foxfire dungeon with the illusionary pass, he immediately went to Zhu Pinghao's house to treat his daughter. And when he saw Miss Zhu's condition, he found it was more severe than he had imagined. Immediately, he took out the Foxfire essence from his inventory, and the essence instantly emitted a scorching heat. Phantom only just remembered this is very dangerous for ordinary people. So he asked Zhu Pinghao to wait outside briefly. But Zhu Pinghao felt slightly uneasy about it. "Giving such a dangerous thing to my daughter, is it really okay?" Phantom waved his hand, telling him not to worry. "Although there's some risk, but as long as you treat it according to the method, there won't be any problem." He immediately grasped Phantom's hand in classical Chinese. "I leave my daughter in your care." She smiled at the illusion and said with a care-filled tone, "Take care." Then the Phantom took out the inner core again. Now he first needs to do is unblock his meridians. Just then the Phantom's gaze sharpened, only to see Miss Zhu's screen show a prompt. The other person was emitting moderate cold aura. One could use frost skills to absorb this coldness. Absorbing the coldness would increase magic points. It greatly shocked the Phantom. He never expected there to be such an operation. Although he already knew X, Ice, and Frost skills have become a versatile skill now. But I didn't expect to absorb cold energy and boost my magic points as well. Even his Sufu, the skill Dark Watcher, doesn't have this effect either. Thinking of this, a flash of the Phantom light appeared. Since Ice and Frost can have this hidden attribute as well, so can the Dark Watcher also draw from In the Darkness, Jichu, take the magic skill? Thus, the illusion decided that he would try it out sometime in the future, but he still needs to focus on treating now. Those who have the extinct meridians of the void. After all, the longer the time drags on, the more detrimental it is to the patient. The Phantom then probed into the situation of the coldness invading. Time had already caused severe coldness to spread throughout his body, and during his Phantom period, he once had stronger yang energy from the inner alchemy pill. Proceed to open up the patient's meridians. Although this method may affect the patient, cause some harm, but there was no other way at that time. But now he has other choices. Absorb only a part of the cold energy to keep his yin and yang balanced. This method will be safer. Time passed 1 moment at a time. The numbered bottle outside anxiously waited. At this moment, the Phantom opened the door and came out. He hurriedly asked about the result. The Phantom was drenched in sweat. Only his face wore a smile, and the process went smoothly. Your daughter has been cured of her illness. Hearing this, Zhu Pinghao, an overwhelming sense of joy surged through me. The pain that had troubled him for so many years finally vanished today. In order to repay Phantom's great kindness and favor, Zhu Pinghao wanted to pay more for the commission fee. But it was rejected by the illusion. So he came up with a plan. If the illusion ever needs help, Minghao Group will definitely offer full support. Zhu Pinghao's promise surprised the illusion. After all, Minghao Group is known for its wealth and power. It has businesses all over the country. The most powerful guild under its umbrella is the Hong Ta Guild. He is ranked 5th in the National Union. If I could be there when he needs me, help yourself along, that's something priceless. In that case, the illusion gained an additional powerful trump card. After returning to the association, Desheng had just finished talking on the phone with Zhu Pinghao, expressed great admiration for the illusion. In classical language, the illusion lightly laughed and opened the item. Next, in Dijing's dazed gaze, he took out the Foxfire Essence Core. The illusion told him he had not used the Essence Core to treat the injury, but instead used an ice skill to absorb some cold energy to heal the patient. Hearing that, Dijing was instantly startled. Then, the illusion continued, saying, after absorbing the cold energy, his magic points increased. From this, we can conclude the ice and frost skills can absorb cold energy and convert it into magical power. That is to say, all items with a cold aura can be used by him. Dijing finally understood the meaning of the illusion. Talked about it for so long, he just wants me to take him to get that kind of equipment. Thus, Dijing stroked his chin and pondered for a moment. Thought of letting the Phantom go for player trading. Look at the center. That's a well-known offline trading market. Branches are set up all over the world. Players can trade. Equipment and information obtained from dungeons. Ordinary people also come here for sightseeing, so it's often overcrowded. But Phantom's goal is not here, it's the black market. A moment later, he arrived at a cinema and found the special seat. And this is the device to transport to the black market. As a smooth rise began, the illusion vanished from its original spot. Now he was in a place filled with neon lights and red wine of an underground city. And this is what people call the black market. Trading hubs around the world can lead here, but the black market rarely sees guides and ordinary people. After all, powerful players are unwilling to stay at the bottom tier. The people here either lack the power to reach the second layer, or they simply cannot handle the pressure there. What they retrieve. In short, everyone here is not his match. Then the Phantom arrived at a weapon shop. Indicate that you are here to purchase a tribute equipment. The classical Chinese boss told him, everything is on that rack, go check it out yourself. And when he saw them, Phantom was surprised. He didn't really have high hopes, never thought there would be so many. Although they are all mild coldness effects, the quantity is just too much. Should also boost magic points quite a bit. At that moment, the Phantom suddenly turned its head, said to the boss with a sinister tone, I heard you have something specifically stored in your shop, room for top-tier equipment. Can you take me to see it? The boss, in classical Chinese, was instantly stunned. He didn't expect the Phantom to actually be knowledgeable about it. Then, the boss opened a small secret room. Inside, various rare equipment were placed, but there was no shadow attribute he wanted among them. Just then, he discovered an ice and frost attribute. However, the boss was greatly alarmed. He shouted for him not to touch that. There was a powerful curse on it. It could freeze the wearer in place. But he hadn't finished speaking yet. The illusion was already placed on his hand, and nothing happened at all. This immediately left the boss dumbfounded. Staring blankly in the garden, it could be seen that the gloves emitted a chilling frost aura. At the same time, the Phantom also saw the equipped attributes. It contains a moderate frost melody. It's about the same as the 9-yen cutaneous syndrome. This way, it will be like this. He could be the same as last time, boosted my magic points significantly. Thus, with a wave of his illusory giant hand, he bought them all. After a moment, the Phantom arrived at the bar to prepare for the transmission. This preparation process needs 10 minutes. Meanwhile, several people around noticed his identity. Then, the three of them approached him, giving him a round of flattery and compliments. But Phantom could see right away that they were here for him. Because for players, popularity is very important. This involves joining the guild and accepting missions. Relying solely on copies to boost popularity is very difficult. So some people would resort to underhanded methods. He specifically bullies newbies to gain media attention, will do anything for fame. The next moment, a large knife was chopped beside the Phantom. The man said viciously, "Experienced player is talking to you. Are you deaf?" Then they continued with a tone of seniority. Education raised a Phantom. You should know that he had already debuted 5 years ago. If it weren't for these old players paving the way, where is there any of your current glory? But at this moment, the illusion is really hurting its stomach from laughing. Hehe, you really have no idea about the world outside your little bubble. All of that is due to the efforts of the original players. What do you small delinquents have to do with it? Stop wasting my time. Attack them all at once. It's time for this bunch of trash to see some color too. And after Phantom threatened those few people, the bar instantly became noisy. People were discussing what would happen if a fight broke out here. The media would compete to report on it. The super new star Su Junhao again. But some people immediately saw through Nanjing Triangle, wanted to shamelessly gain attention by suppressing newcomers. Several people paid no heed to the surrounding insults. As long as they could defeat Su Jiaohao, they would receive even more praise. The Phantom lightly inquired how much longer the teleportation device would take. Kubo replied it was about 4 minutes. Wen Yan, Phantom took a step forward, raising a confident smile. This time is enough for me to deal with them. Seeing the dagger in the Phantom's hand, they felt puzzled. Because it said, his weapon of expertise is ordinary. For this Phantom, that's contemptuous laughter in response to you. This will suffice for dealing with you. The classical man was instantly furious. The next moment, he was attacked by someone wielding a large knife. The Phantom moved unhurriedly and easily avoided it. Then he grabbed his long sword with one hand and delivered a reverse elbow strike to his face. He fainted on the spot from shock. Seeing the scene, his companion cursed, calling him a waste of space. Immediately, his hand moved swiftly and smoothly. In an instant, tree roots with sharp needles appeared. Following that, he waved his large hand. The sharp needles fell like a storm of arrows. However, the illusion rolled away quickly. At the same time, another person was hacking and slashing at him from the side with a sword. But the Phantom merely lightly waved his dagger, easily blocking his fierce attack. However, his companions still felt they had the upper hand, because in his eyes, the Phantom was just a new recruit who had fought a few monsters, definitely hadn't engaged in life-or-death battles with a real person. So it's definitely easy to hesitate. And precisely this moment of hesitation let him reveal a fatal flaw. This is the difference between them. But before he could even finish his fantasy, his companion was already trampled underfoot by an illusion. Now, he stands alone. Seeing this man, it's hard to believe. He never expected just a rookie with some minor reputation to actually defeat the 3 absolute wonders of southern border, and moreover, so effortlessly. He was unwilling to accept this outcome. Red light surged again in his hand. Intense bursts of sound rushed by again. But this time, the illusion did not dodge. Instead, it rushed towards him quickly from the front. In the days of the illusion period, he had relied on predicting his opponent's moves, defeating countless demons, only to see the Phantom's dagger swing like lightning, each movement slicing through the rushing needles. The next moment, the Phantom's dagger was right in front of him. Then suddenly, fixed the dagger in his hand. The literary man trembled slightly, gently indicated that from now on, he would avoid seeing him. And after a moment of silence, Shu Junhao Timran defeated the 3 absolute wonders of southern border. They were experienced old players with 5 years of experience. Applause and cheers continued non-stop. Although Phantom felt that this world had become very strange, everyone lives too freely for their own sake. One can kill for one's own selfish desires. Even if they don't understand the full context of events, they will still blindly support the winners. Either go with the flow and join them, or become a cold-blooded animal, or choose to live with pain. And on the other side, the video of Phantom crushing the Southern Frontier 3 Absolute quickly spread. He won with an overwhelming advantage, defeating 3 players over level 20. This also caught the backseat girl's attention. It seems he is indeed very outstanding. At the same time, Phantom was stuck on the street, unable to go through the hair removal process. A bunch of enthusiastic fans, they are lining up to take a photo with him. If he keeps this up, he won't be going home today. Just then, 2 figures appeared behind him. The woman wanted to chat with him. The Phantom examined his appearance, that head of red hair, and the passion exuding from his entire body. Disciple. Sister Wang Liangzong's Phantom Palace. When he handed over his business card, the Phantom's suspicion was confirmed. Could it be that Shimen Wangliang wants to recruit me? Then, Gao Shuxia suggested going to a nearby cafe for a detailed chat. The Phantom didn't hesitate and agreed immediately. At least now he could leave this damn place. A moment later, they arrived at the coffee shop. Gao Shuxia came straight to the point, asking if Phantom wanted to join their guild. These words left Phantom taken aback. Do you guys just recruit people like this? You don't even need any evaluations or tests? But Gao Shuxia merely responded indifferently. This is the vice president's instruction. Tell me your judgment after I introduce you to me. Now I feel you are qualified to join us, and just based on your achievements, you deserve to join. After all, you're currently a super new player. Your combat strength is extremely powerful. You're an excellent prospect. In classical language, Phantom also guessed that the black market matters have already spread. Then, Gao Shuxia offered Phantom generous treatment. As far as he knew, Phantom only had 1 Earth-rank skill weapon expert. If he could obtain other skills, he would definitely become a top player. Once he joins the guild, this manual is his, and they would also customize a one-on-one dungeon strategy plan for him. After flipping through the manual, it felt pretty good. Phantom. Not only are the resources excellent, the annual salary and bonuses are also more than the association offers. No wonder the association can't retain talent. Such a stingy offer. There was a confident smile on Gao Shuxia's face. Watching this powerful union invite him with such an offer, he must definitely not refuse that. However, Phantom's response surprised him. Sorry, but let's just leave it at that. And Phantom's refusal had its reasons. He knew all too well that there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Joining them might bring both fame and profit for now. But he must follow the guild's instructions, complete various tasks. Considering the long term would instead become his chains. Gao Shuxia found this matter extremely strange. Ask him why he doesn't want to. Is it not clear enough that you said it yourself? And the response to this illusion is, you have heard of preferring to be the head chicken, not going to be the phoenix's tail. Wen Yan understood Phantom's thoughts after reading the ancient text. He actually has quite foresight according to Dao. He knew that even if he joined the guild, it would be hard for him to quickly rise to high positions in a short time. After all, competition among talents is also very intense in superior places, so he didn't push too hard on this matter. However, before leaving, he gave Phantom a new suggestion, telling him to be more cautious. Recently, the Moren has been causing trouble at Yue Family Ordinary. Even the first floor has become unstable now. If he was assassinated by Moren, I would feel quite regretful. So, may we meet again if our paths cross, Mr. Rooster? Then the Phantom returned to the association and reported on Moren. Frequent reports tell the duty officer. Hearing this, the duty officer lightly strokes his chin. It seems their information is indeed more reliable than the association's. But High Uncle Ho came personally to invite you. Don't you want to join either? I'm not interested in money or status. That's why I declined them. However, Wen Yuan's expression shows a sense of loss. This makes the illusion speechless. Do you really want to drive me away like this? But De Jing shook his head slightly and said, of course not. I just think that they can provide you with a better platform. The illusion spoke faintly. In that case, I won't go either. The association is more comfortable for me anyway. Besides, I still want you to be by my side. Classical Chinese. De Jing was immediately moved to tears and sniffling. Wave of a hand, expressing that they will change the contract right away. He designated an entire floor just for his use, and he will strive to narrow the gap with the union. Laughing at that Phantom, thank you for that, old comrade. And before I leave, Phantom told De Jing, push back the time for conquering the East China Sea dungeon by 1 week. De Sheng immediately guessed Phantom's thoughts. Don't you want to bait me with something tedious? After all, only patience can catch a big fish. This is a guardian spirit dragon that controls the winds and clouds. But the man boasts that he will defeat it, only because he was once a superhero who saved the world. Now, upon his return from legend, not only has he achieved the 2 years' birth, but he also intends to continue, conquer the East Sea in its classical form, which no one has completed before. If he succeeds, H country will become the first nation in the world without any unexplored Fuban. At the same time, a red-haired man just watched a news broadcast. Then he summoned a black. Tell him this is taking away the storm. The guy from the palace. They definitely know how to torture people. Want information about Storm Palace? So they released false information to confuse us. Send the Shadow Brotherhood to the East Sea instance. No matter if Shu Junhao is alive or dead, I have to get the Storm Palace in my hands, and he is exactly the demon man Karshinger. While on the other side, Phantom also saw that the Shadow Brothers are participating in the East Sea dungeon. The news immediately made him suspicious, so he decided to delay. Point out to Secretary Zhang to check their files. Then he continued his own exercise, only to see golden light flash in his eyes. In the next moment, dark shadow power burst out instantly. Although under the exhaustion of physical strength, the enhancement of magic was somewhat excessive, but this effect still made him feel quite satisfied. He must be in the East Sea instance, make full use of the Dark Watcher skill, backup of Eastern Sea, alias Island of Guardian, Divine Dragon. From the name, it's not hard to see the ultimate monster inside is from the dragon race, and the condition to clear it is to defeat the nameless dragon. But for new players, challenging a dragon opponent is undoubtedly suicide. Although Phantom had also fought against the dragon race several times, they keep flying around so much, this annoys him a lot. So if he wants to win, he either has to fight quickly on the ground, or find a way to climb onto the dragon's back and look for an opportunity to defeat it. Just then, Secretary Zhang, the book, also sent over the Ziliao of the Dark Shadow Brothers. They come from the Dark Realm, members are Vincent and Edsel, and as one of the top players, they have successfully completed over 200 missions, and both have awakened their shadow abilities. And when the media asked them why they chose to play through the game, the Eastern Sea Dungeon, they said they would watch Ju Hao Shu closely. He has consecutively passed through several. No one dares to challenge these dungeons. It's truly an honor to team up with such players. After watching, Phantom chuckled lightly. Seems like these two can make good use of the time. The time soon came to tackle the dungeon. Their actions this time are drawing a lot of attention. Media from all over the world flocked in. De Jing asked Phantom if he felt nervous about it, but Phantom was completely unconcerned, playing games instead. It made him scream in anger. You little guy, how can you be so careless, after all? But there were more than 500 players who died inside. Phantom reluctantly asked him to calm down. He even defeated the Frost Queen. How could he be afraid of an unnamed dragon? But De Jin was more concerned about another issue. Because today, Shadow Brothers and him entered the dungeon together. They suddenly appeared out of nowhere. This suggests that it's very likely that people were sent by the demons. He worries that Phantom might be ambushed. Care not for such illusions. Confidently asserts that even if they really wanted to scheme against him, he was prepared for it. Then the Shadow Brothers greeted the illusion, praised him, saying he's truly remarkable. So thin and weak, yet able to clear multiple dungeons in a row. The illusion responded indifferently, saying, it's too kind. The Dark Brother continued to say, this is the last country dungeon for farming. The significance of this journey is great, so we must work together with all our heart. Phantom chuckled and reassured with a smile. I will give it my utmost effort. Soon, everyone was ready and began entering the dungeon. During the player's career, the most tense moment, it's when you enter the dungeon. Because everything inside is unknown. To unleash one's maximum strength, one would adjust their body to a state where nothing can go wrong at the moment of entry. But there's a fatal flaw in this approach. It's when players focus on adjusting their state of mind. It's easy to overlook the person behind you. It's also the easiest time for a sneak attack to succeed. Just see the Dark Shadow Brother raise his weapon right here. But in the next moment, he suddenly stopped moving. Seeing this, his companion felt puzzled. But at this moment, his face turned red, and he was drenched in cold sweat. He could hardly believe what he saw. The man before him, surprisingly, not a single weakness was shown. When he was lost in thought, several people have already successfully entered the dungeon. Only after regaining his composure did he realize how deeply he regretted it. He missed the best opportunity. Random head turn. Signal to companions. Wait for an opportunity during battle to make your move. They then scanned their surroundings. At this moment, they were on a small island. But there was no trace of the nameless dragon. However, the illusion's brows were tightly furrowed. The aura emitted here, surprisingly, completely exceeded his expectations. He originally thought the nameless dragon was just an ordinary ultimate monster. But now, it seemed even surpassing the ultimate monsters in a first-level dungeon. At this moment, a huge shadow flashed by above them. They immediately looked up, only to see a robust and agile male dragon. The azure dragon suddenly appeared, twisting and galloping through the clouds and mist. Seeing this, the Dark Shadow Brothers were amazed beyond words. The size is truly beyond their imagination. The plane turned to ask the Phantom, any good ideas to get rid of him? But beside him, there was nothing at all. The Phantom's figure had already vanished, which made the two instantly alarmed. They didn't even notice the sound of the Phantom leaving. Blue Dragon has already locked onto the two of them, and immediately a bolt of lightning struck down. Following that, more lightning quickly fell, leaving them struggling to dodge for a moment. The illusion is hiding on the side. Belief watches the two of them in their disheveled state. With this approach, he can determine if they are demons or not. Now the Blue Dragon has been bothering them constantly. Shadow Brothers have also unleashed their secret techniques, summoning the Shadow Warriors and letting their companions search for the illusion while they come to deal with this guy themselves. Following that, the Shadow Warrior drew a long spear in his hand. In the next moment, he threw it at Dragon, giving the other person time to search. The Phantom's events. Not long after, he discovered the Phantom's trail. Seeing this, a hidden joy arose in his heart. Surprisingly, even the magical magnetic field couldn't be concealed. It seems indeed a newbie, so he pretended to call out to the Phantom while secretly gripping his short sword tightly. When he approached the mirror, he suddenly struck with one swift slash. However, his strike was in vain. The figure turned into shadows and vanished among the jungle streets. Seeing this shadow, the brother was extremely puzzled. An unease lingered in his heart. There were shadows of trees everywhere here. For him, who possessed the shadow attribute, it was like being at home. Why did he have a premonition of ill omen? The Phantom suddenly appeared behind Vincent. The scene just now confirmed the Phantom's suspicions in his heart. But even now, Vincent still wants to make a small argument. Yet, he was torn off his false mask by the Phantom. His eyes had already completely betrayed him. Because the most characteristic of torment is the pain inflicted on Win Yun, he finally stopped pretending. Discard the short sword in your hand. A cloud of anxious evil rose up. There is an extremely small probability of something appearing in the Fuban. Players of the demon race only need to drink their blood. There's a chance to become pesky. Simultaneously gain powerful control over magical energy. The cost is losing human emotions. Became temperamental. He then used magical energy to condense into several attacking beams. With a wave of his hand, they rushed towards the illusion rapidly. However, facing the swift incoming assault, the illusion stood motionless in place. But in the next moment, he instantly vanished from that spot, transforming into a shadow weapon and disappeared. Seeing this scene, Vincent's pupils constricted. He hurriedly looked around for the Phantom's trail. However, in the next second, the Phantom appeared like a ghost behind him. But he quickly felt an impending danger. Swiftly swinging his blade backward to cut it off, the Phantom then once again transformed into the shadow tool and vanished. And this is precisely the Phantom's skill, Nightwalker. When it can be mastered proficiently after that, it can achieve complete invisibility. Footsteps and breathing sounds. The scent emitted from the body, even magical magnetic fields, can all be completely hidden. In the battlefield on the other side, the nameless dragon soars among the clouds. This leaves Eldbar at a loss for what to do. Just then, Vincent emerged from the trees nearby. Great, had told Eldbar. That kid is no ordinary person. Not only does he know they are troublesome, still left him in such a miserable state. That guy has been hiding his strength. But Adabal listened and nodded, but doesn't believe what he says. Just felt like the illusion was posturing. How could he have really been that powerful if they let him come back alive? So, they decided to ignore the Phantom for now. They'll deal with the National Guardian Divine Dragon when they work together. But their attack was launched from the ground. Almost no effect. But I've heard that the Dragon Clan's weakness is aging in reverse, so plan to defeat it by exploiting this point. Just then, only to see the blue dragon take in a huge breath. The next moment, a surging lightning aura gathered in his mouth, instantly poured down upon them. Right there, the shadow warrior of Edbar was eliminated. Total extinction. The harm transfers to the frame. Instantly, he spat out a mouthful of fake blood. But soon they made a counterattack. The long spear formed by evil energy whipped towards him suddenly. He landed squarely on the dragon god's body. However, this strike did not hit the eye, only caused him a slight injury. Vincent then used Shadow Step. In an instant, he appeared on the dragon zone. He quickly scanned around to find where Reversing Age was. After some time, he pinpointed Reversing Age's location. Then he used Shadow Step again to move. Grabbed Reversing Age with both hands. With great force, he tore it apart. He pulled it out right there, but he wasn't even given a moment to be happy. The position of the reverse aging flickered with the Holy Sage's lightning. The next moment, violent thunder roared in the air, and the illusion in the forest was witnessing this scene. Truly a foolish fellow. Although reversed age is a weakness for dragons, but once reversed age is torn off, they would become even more violent and sensitive. Meanwhile, Vincent returned to the ground severely injured, continuously shouting that it was bad, only to see the divine dragon stare at the two with raging intent. Violent lightning wreaked havoc around him. The next moment, countless lightning bolts fell crazily upon the two of them, and at this moment, the illusion also prepared to make a move. Pulling back, the storm attack aimed at the heavenly dragon in the air. In the next instant, a sword history shot through with lightning speed and hit him. But they quickly guessed the illusion wasn't trying to save itself. Instead, it wanted to use them as bait to attract the dragon god's attention. But if the phantom keeps attacking, the dragon god will surely be drawn to him, and they can take this opportunity to escape. So the two stopped attacking the dragon god, only dodging and running away non-stop. Seeing this, the phantom sneered, immediately understanding their intentions. Their hopes would be in vain, only to see him draw the Storm Palace string again. The power of darkness surged and formed. The arrow was then shot out with a whoosh. Next, pull back the bow and set it up again. Multiple attacks fired at an extremely fast speed. After doing all of this, he put away the storm bow in his hand. Now the hunting is over. Then he appeared before the Shadow Brothers. Laughing at them. Why can they only run away? The two spoke in anger at once. Why did he run here? Should be providing remote support from behind them instead. But Phantom merely let them look at the sky. We can see many light points suddenly appear in Tianqiang, falling into the dragon god's body as swiftly as a meteor, instantly pinning it down firmly on the ground. Seeing this, I lose my temper. They found it hard to believe. That powerful national guardian dragon. Surprisingly, he was killed so easily. Then the Phantom retrieved the Storm Palace again. What a great thing this is. No wonder Carsigna wants to get it so badly. See this. Both realized that the Phantom had known everything much earlier. So he expresses himself in a flattering manner. They are just insignificant small players. If he gives Carl's intelligence to him, can you let them go? However, Phantom rejected it coldly on the spot. After all, they knew too much. He couldn't leave any witnesses alive. Seeing that begging for mercy didn't work, Vincent immediately decided to fight him to the death. Ginheng picked up his weapon and attacked Phantom. However, Phantom's movements were as swift as lightning in his hands. In just an instant, he killed him instantly. Watching my brother die right in front of me, Edbar's anger and hatred surged as he charged at the illusion. Yet, his attack was easily nullified by the Phantom. As the Phantom becomes more common, his life came to an end right there. Phantom was filled with disgust, said that you guys are just trash anyway. Living is also a calamity to humanity. Go to hell early. He only performed a salvation for the legendary Dragon of Gods, unexpectedly obtained the rare item Wan Boxi, Enemy Wave. Before that, Phantom, relying on the strength of the Sealing Path Palace, easily struck down the National Guard Divine Dragon from the clouds, subsequently even ended the Shadow Brothers with 2 slashes. But just as he was about to end the Dragon of Gods, he showed a pitiful plea instead. This made the Phantom's action pause momentarily, but this couldn't stop his blade from falling. From now on, roaring through winds and clouds, Guardian Divine Dragon fell fallen. Completing the East Sea Dungeon rewards 200 kilograms of dragon bone, and a large amount of experience points are also issued along with it. The Phantom's level rose rapidly, but now he has other things to do. Prepare to use that skill, Necromancer's Confession. This is what he obtained after clearing the Morning Curse. It allows him to see corpse memories. Only to see Vincent's memory appearing in an image form, the Phantom decides first, search through his recent memories to check. Accompanied by a swish of sound, the Phantom arrived at another scene, only to see the Shadow Brothers target innocent humans, carrying out a merciless slaughter. This made the Phantom angrily curse. Died so easily, they really got a bargain. Then he searched through the annoying memories again, only to see the Shadow Brothers arrived at a laundry shop. There was a man in black inside. He ordered the 2 brothers, enter the East Sea Dungeon with Shu Junhao. Seeing this illusion, he guessed this should be the place of annoying streets. As memory deepened, the illusion saw their memories when they became annoying. A man in a white suit granted them torturing power. But just as the Phantom wanted to continue watching, a sharp pain suddenly struck his mind. His skill level is too low to read all the content. To ensure safety, it has been forcibly ended. The Phantom wondered who that person was just now. From the looks of it, his status must be higher than that of the Shadow Brothers. However, to get more effective intelligence, first you need to raise your skill level. Then a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. This skill should also be able to see other creatures. Remember that the god dragon is stronger than the nine-tailed fox. Definitely not from a humble background. So he immediately began to read through the dragon god's memories. Then he saw a monk. Address the person before you as your majesty. Originally, the divine dragon was once a king of a nation. At the time when his days were numbered, he ordered that his ashes be scattered into the East Sea, willingly giving up the cycle of rebirth, transforming into a protective guardian dragon to guard the people. After reading it, the Phantom felt myriad emotions. He never expected that the divine dragon was actually human, still guarding the people. Willing to become a dragon emperor, respect for him arose instantly. So he knelt down in silent prayer for the divine dragon. Now, this land is very safe. You can rest in peace. The next moment, the scales on the dragon's body shine with radiant light. The biochemical reaction gradually fades into golden light. Finally, a golden dragon phantom condensed within the room. The young man, thank you for liberating me. To explore the hidden levels of the East Sea dungeon, obtain the title Dragon Guardian, gain access to Wan Bosi enemies. This was something even the illusion did not expect. No wonder he received such good rare equipment. The Phantom rubbed his head and sighed. If there are still so many hidden things in the future, just the obstacle course would be fine. The press conference was quickly prepared. Everyone finds it hard to believe the Dark Brothers can hide inside. Then the Phantom appeared at the press conference scene. Explained to everyone about the Shadow Brothers, the cause of death. All of this is his fault for accidentally stepping into the maze. That's why he got separated from them. When he finally managed to get out, they had already died at the hands of the ultimate monster. If I could have come out a bit earlier, maybe I could have changed the outcome. The illusion vividly narrates, make everyone deeply believe without doubt. However, few know that he is actually the prime culprit. On the other side, Carl is also concerned about the press conference. Looking at the news in front of him, he is extremely angry. Damn, what good luck he has. And the chain reaction leading to the death of the Shadow Brothers will result in no one bidding for their reincarnated auction. For he decided to move the dogs from the second floor to the first floor. No matter what means he uses, he must ensure the success of this second auction at all costs. The Phantom looked at the mountain of commission pills piled in front of him. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly. He asked Shiren, have these commissions not been categorized yet? Otherwise, how could there be so many? He seems energetic about this act of kindness. He's already divided them up, I see. It might be because he conquered the Eastern Sea vice-governor, so maybe the mission requests for Dan have increased dramatically. At this moment, he suddenly noticed something, staring at the illusion straight ahead. You should probably get a new look. You look very disheveled now. He then pulled up some popular players' resumes, although they weren't as impressive as the Phantom, but at least they didn't look as rustic as he did. Hearing that he looked rustic, the Phantom instantly turned to stone on the spot. As he spoke, he took out another business card, telling the Phantom to go get a haircut there. After all, it was for his own image. Let Phantom let his master rest early for now. After doing so much work, you must be tired, right? His eyes were full of twinkling little stars. He quickly said a thank you on the spot. He dashed out at a speed of 2.5 seconds per 100 meters. Even as he was leaving, he didn't forget to remind him to go get a haircut. At night, Phantom came fully armed into the street, during his time as Phantom. As long as you take off the mask, you can go to any sarn shop for a haircut. But everything has changed now. And when Phantom returned to the Player Association, he told Deijing that he was going to Liangguo. Upon hearing this, Deijing felt puzzled, so he explained that he had been at the Shadow Brothers there, got the demon's street location, so he has to go there in person. But Deijing felt extremely worried about it. However, he wasn't worried about Phantom's safety. Instead, he was worried that he would kill the demon directly. In that case, they wouldn't get any intelligence. Regarding this, Phantom stated that he would definitely obtain the intelligence, although they look like minor followers, but at least they know something. After listening, Deijing also agreed and told him to contact himself whenever needed. But Phantom immediately said he needed help right now. Then he opened the inventory, and a pile of bones clattered onto the table. This is the dragon bone he got from the East Sea Bun. He can use half of it. The other half should be given to Noah to make a sword for himself. The length and weight of the Deijing patrol ship have requirements, Phantom replied. Just do it according to how you used it before. Hearing this, Daywell felt somewhat helpless. That old man is nearly 100 years old, and he still remembers this? The Phantom turned his head and let out a light chuckle. If he even forgets these things, then let him retire early. At night, the Phantom fell onto the bed like a sack of potatoes. Then he asked Shiren for help again to book a flight ticket that he had to try tomorrow. After finishing, he opened the item case again. He took Wabusidi out from inside. This was the peace flute that brings peace to Poland. Its effect is to use 3 skills of the King's Army: King's Space, King's Weapon. Although it can only be used 3 times, but its power must be considerable. He then checked his own status again. Now he has gained the title of Dragon Slayer. Although it's not as advanced as Spring Messenger, it's still quite good. However, what pleased him was, his magic points finally increased. If this speed continues, he will be able to use the rocket spell soon. This can only be done by raising magic points to a certain degree. Skills that can only be used by those with talent. You also need to penetrate its mysteries. Maybe this time he can do better than the Phantom period. Faster mastery. And with his current skill level, going to the 3rd floor should be fine now. If he could learn to go to the 3rd layer healthily, can we see the 9 powerful figures known as Ju Xiao? Phantom is very curious. How strong will the powerful in this era be? And Mo Ren, is he still that group of bandits? The next day, Phantom arrived at the temple market. This is a city where entertainment can take place 24 hours a day. It's an eternal city for fun. It's also known as the Sin City. Now they are even holding an auction for attribute equipment. Even world-renowned figures from various countries are attending. But Phantom is not interested in this auction event. His first stop now is Mo Ren. The street area, Gym Laundry Shop. At the same time, the annoying laundryman is irritated because the air conditioner is broken. In a fit of rage, damned mechanic, why hasn't he come yet? However, now there's another matter that makes him even more headache-inducing. Those madmen of the hunting dogs. The man beside him asked him if he had seen a hunting dog. This made the man recall what used to be. Seen the terrifying. They just haven't smelled blood in a long time. Just killed my superior. Just then, the door was forcibly opened. Seeing the visitor, he broke out in a cold sweat immediately. This is exactly what makes his heart race and stomach churn. The first girl frowned as soon as she came in. Why is it so hot? You want to roast people to death? These words instantly made the two of them feel much more relieved inside. They hurriedly nodded and kowtowed repeatedly. Then they immediately passed on the orders conveyed above to him. But when he finished reading, his pupils suddenly narrowed. He gritted his teeth and expressed, the mission actually had a change this time. Their entry into the 3rd layer was in vain. Then asked the bald man behind for his opinion, whether to protest to those above. And Calcigna even had them steal that thing. But he's not our direct superior. Why should we listen to him? However, the bald man remained emotionless like a dead pond. Not a word. He just calmly took over the order in his hand. After reading it, he suddenly erupted with fierce flames, burning it to ashes. Then, expressionless, he asked if there were any other orders besides this one. No other orders? The man nervously replied that there weren't any more. After getting the answer, the bald man turned and walked away, and as the gate closed, the man collapsed and fell to the ground with a thud. The strong pressure from the hunting dog left him shaken. The man next to him hurriedly approached to check on him, but he felt, although the first two were quite intimidating, but that captain actually looked rather approachable. Hearing this, he immediately cursed. Is he blind? That man is the most terrifying existence among them. In this world, people call the strongest 9 players the 9 heavens, also known as the 9 layers of heaven. Alma, the captain of the Hound, is both Xiao's member and a senior official within the Torment Association named Nazad Haru's disciple. Literati man, in formal language, only now remembers a name that sends shivers down one's spine. Skulltree is Alma. He initiated the mass slaughter for the substitute country half a year ago. And it's said that, originally, there were 5 people in the Hound gang, but Alma doesn't like 2 of them, turn them all into skeletons. But just then, the door was opened again by someone, only to see a man in white standing at the entrance. And he is officially an illusion. But the 2 of them treated him like an air conditioner repair person, swearing and complaining about how hot it is. Why did he come now? Upon hearing this, the illusion gently raised its hand, unleashing one of the ice and frost techniques. Instantly, cool ice crystals drifted across the world. But before long, this space turned into a super cold storage room. The 2 people inside shivered, hurriedly told him to stop joking around, and quickly cease about this. His lips curved into a smile. I'm not joking around, because I'm not playing around. You lot are such stupid pests. Just wait passively for your demise. In an instant afterward, Phantom had already dispatched the 2 of them. He also seized their mental information. These 2 people. It's just a miner, tasked with conveying orders. But if the hunting dog has come here too, the situation would be different then. So he called Detective's phone. The detective just picked up and immediately scolded him for acting crazy. It's now 2:30 a.m. at his place. Phantom apologized and said it was embarrassing. He had something to ask of him. But without an invitation, can you help me get one? Hearing this, De Jing looked displeased. You must be kidding me. At least I'm the president of the Player Association. A measly invitation is nothing. Send over your hotel and room number. After getting an invitation to the auction, the Phantom arrived at the hotel a day early to scout it out. Not only is there an auction here, but there's also a casino. However, this is the first time the Phantom has come here, so he thought about going in to have some fun. But security alarms went off and stopped him from entering. At the same time, several security personnel rushed over upon hearing the alarm, and the leader among them immediately recognized his identity. Originally, he was the person who met with him last time along with Gao Shuxia Jr. disciple, Wang Lianggong, a servant of Wang clan society. What a funny duo, the little attendant and princess family's princess. For this auction event, they are responsible for security work this time. He asked if Phantom wanted to enter the casino, then brought him to the other side. Tell him the casino changed its business model. Because players were gambling, used his own ability, caused the casino quite a few losses. So the hotel made a countermeasure, specifically recommended casino for players. Here, they can use their abilities, even the nuclear reactor here. It's also because the players have a significant advantage. But Xia Renhao awkwardly scratched his head, not necessarily so, because our captain has never won before. Only to see Auntie Gao's eyes fill with tears as she sighed about this matter. Severely doubt if they are just digging their own pockets deeper. Extremely dejected, he leaned on the desk with his head hanging low. It is absolutely impossible. The illusion was drenched in sweat. He saw through this game in an instant. The odds of winning or losing have nothing to do with psychological battles. It's purely about having good eyesight. He sat beside the tall girl, asking if he thought the game was fun. Hearing that, he shivered in anger. Am I asking you if it's fun? After I've lost so many times, how could it be fun? But in the next moment, he reacted. In front of him was an illusionary chicken-head master. His face showed anticipation as he said, "Originally, it's Mr. Chickenhead. He didn't expect to meet you here. Are you coming to seek my protection?" To this illusion, he remained silent and expressed that, of course not. High Sister chuckled and said, "I was just joking. What are you doing here then?" Phantom told him he came to participate in the auction. Just happened to visit the casino today. The sun under the high classical text expressed, "I am now the security captain of this hotel. Come to me if there's anything." The Phantom saw this and made a mental remark. The security captain actually gambles during working hours. Immediately, he asked again if this game was really this difficult. Just mentioning this makes Gao Shu extremely helpless. Sighed. This dealer's speed is very fast. I heard he came down from the second floor. But because the croupiers were all wearing masks, so their identities and abilities are also unknown. Then the Phantom bet all his chips. This surprised Gao Shu Xia, advising him to be cautious at first as he might not keep up with his speed. However, the Phantom's words instantly struck him hard, meaning, "You are already proficient, right? Yet you're still losing?" It immediately made him ashamed and turn away. The game begins. 3 cups quickly change positions in Huoguan's hands. As the speed increases, even trailing shadows appeared. After 2.5 minutes, he stopped moving. Next is to choose the one with the silver bead. Beneath the tall tree, he immediately stood up, excitedly, and shouted. This time, he knew for sure. He had already seen clearly. It must be the one on the left. The little face was full of confidence and show-off attitude, considering whether to bet in the next group, but the nearby Phantom disdainfully told him not to bet anymore. He really knew nothing about this area, then pointed at the cup in the middle. I choose the one in the middle, Wen Yen. And concern gave him a sudden headache. Immediately, congratulate on hitting, opened the cup. And below that was clearly the Yin Pearl. Seeing this scene, Hai Shu Xia shouted excitedly. Isn't this what they say in legends? Is that a lucky break for a newbie? But I heard that luck only comes around once, so you better stop playing around. Saying that, he responded dejectedly to Ye, at night. But I've never won once, that's why it can't be stopped at all. This made the Phantom's lips twitch slightly. That's truly a sad story. Just then, a voice came from beside the Phantom Bones. Want to play a game? The one who arrived was actually 2 of the hunting dogs targeted by this Phantom this time. The Phantom never expected to end up meeting these guys here. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but when you get it, it's effortless. But there's one problem though. As long as we can't prove they are annoying illusions, we can't just act against them openly, and they won't reveal their identities on their own either. Thinking about this, the illusion decided to give them a head, then turned to Gao Shu Xia and said, This is really fun, I still want to play a few more times. Seeing this, Gao Shu Xia shook her head continuously. Shaking my head in despair, I really find drug addiction terrifying. But his words drifted. It seems like my share is quite significant. And when the dealer saw that this round had 3 players, so he needs to use 5 cups. Very quickly, the 5 cups were flying in the dealer's hand. Spin around. Several people watched intently. It stopped after 2.5 minutes. The woman chose the middle cup first. However, the illusion and the man both chose the one on the far right simultaneously. As the results were revealed, both the illusion and the man won simultaneously. The Phantom cast a glance at the man observing him and muttered to himself about this dry beast fellow. He seems harder to deal with than that woman. Not long after, under the continuous victories of the Phantom, the chips in front of him piled up as high as a small mountain. This made those above marvel if he had any talent for gambling. Otherwise, how could he be so formidable? Explained the reason for this illusion. His friend once taught him, the method to deceive the eye. One cannot just look at the exterior, but must examine the core. Whether it is stronger than the opponent does not matter. What matters is to judge, the essence hidden beneath his techniques. Then the dealer prepared to start the next round. The cup in his hand flew quickly, leaving only dregs. But Phantom wasn't focusing on the cup. Instead, he tightly locked onto the dealer, using his illusion ability. Next, both Phantom and the man chose the same option simultaneously, and as expected, they won the result. Continuous failures made him shed tears. He indicated that now they needed to switch to someone else, and asked the others to wait a moment. Taking advantage of this gap, the Phantom said to Gao Shu Xia, One has a piece of attribute equipment. Let him take a look. Then he rummaged through his pockets. Soon, he took out something emitting cold ice. Magnetic compass of breath. If he infuses magic power into the compass, he can help you locate a specific person, although the person he's looking for shouldn't be here. As he spoke, the compass began to spin rapidly. Once the needle stopped, surprisingly pointed towards the two people beside him. The illusion wondered aloud how come this happened. Does it break down? He then stood up immediately, indicating he was going to the restroom. At the same time, the man by the side also got up and said he was going to the restroom. The woman chuckled lightly and asked if he would be gone for long. The man glanced over briefly, saying he would return within 5 minutes. Phantom ran quickly after leaving the casino. In just a moment, he reached a dead end, and that man's figure appeared right behind him as well. He asked Hu Yinsen if this should not be the restroom. Already guessing in his heart, Phantom's compass was used to locate demons, so he must know we are demons. Geniuses would come here. But the illusion didn't reply to him, threw the compass onto the ground with a flick of his hand. Seeing this, the man's brow furrowed. Attribute equipment shouldn't be so easily damaged. That is to say, this is not attribute gear. Could it be that you deliberately led me here on purpose? Illusion took out a long sword from the item list. He smiled and indicated that he had noticed him just now. This person is very perceptive. The man in classical attire also understood. He has fallen into the illusion's trap. How much do you know about us? The illusion grinned widely. It's just that I've grasped your itinerary for tomorrow. The man in classical attire tightly gripped his opponent's hand in his own. Let's get to the point. Next moment, his emotions ran deep as he sounded the alarm. Moving at an extremely fast speed, he instantly arrived in front of the illusion. A dagger swept out from his hand, instantly making the illusion admire how quick the knife technique was. He leaped away to create distance with it. This shouldn't just be about physical strength. He should have some other method. Does that mean he still has a speed-up skill? But then, the man's words interrupted his thoughts at this time. I already know your approximate strength. Just give up and stop struggling. Anyway, you can't avoid my next attack. Hearing this, the illusion let out a breath of relief. He closed his eyes in front of him. Seeing this, the man instantly approved of the illusion's actions. He realized, your eyes can't keep up with your own speed, so choose to rely directly on perception. But this is also fine. Can deliver a fatal blow, only the head and heart, if he closes his eyes. The head became a weakness. I can attack his head with an evening gown, but in reality, I aim for his heart. The next moment, the man darted to stand in front of the phantom. His dagger fled as he swiftly moved westward. But the next moment, a massive cloud of smoke erupted from the phantom's body, causing the man's actions to pause. But soon, he locked onto the dagger in Phantom's hand, transforming into a gust of wind and fell violently down. However, the sudden change before him immediately made his pupils dilate, only to see his arm holding the weapon turned into an ice sculpture. At the same time, Phantom's laughter entered his ears. You fell for it. If I can predict your attack route, then even if it's a bit slower, what of it? I've already thought of it. Given your personality, you'd definitely aim for my heart. Such an easily readable move. How fast would that be useful anyway? The illusion needle will make the man furious, and again draw out my weapon to launch another assault. But this was grabbed by the Phantom's hand. In an instant, his arm was frozen again into an ice sculpture. At the same time, the Phantom fell from the sky. The Phantom's performance turned into the final act of a man. You know, being too cautious isn't always a good thing either. After the Phantom killed the Lady and the Hound, the woman also realized that her companion had already met with misfortune. Women also guessed that their companion had met with misfortune. After all, with his strength has not returned for nearly 2.5 hours. Alma asked, ask what he looked like who went out with him. Then, summoned out the current one present, L. The player's records of the city, Reggie stared upwards, searching quickly. Suddenly, his gaze stopped at a spot. Swore it was definitely this person. And seeing this person, Alma felt puzzled. His subordinates shouldn't be able to lose to someone just starting out. It should be 2.5 months for a newbie. Then, when he checked Phantom's battle record, found something amiss. He surprisingly has a connection with the Shadow Brothers. At that moment, he still understood everything. The ghost roommate approached them intentionally for a reason. Even the death of the Shadow Brothers. Maybe it's also because of this guy. Thus, Shu Junhao was marked as a dangerous element. As soon as discovered, eliminate immediately. The next day, Phantom arrived at the auction dressed in a suit. And then they invited Han after the incident. The security guard's face immediately changed, showing respect. Please honor him with the VIP channel. While going in on the way, he just happened to run into Uncle Gao buying iced tea. First meeting, Gao Shuxia let loose a torrent of curses at the Phantom. She clearly remembered waiting for him to come back yesterday, but she didn't see anyone all night long. It kept her awake the entire night. She couldn't stop thinking about what that compass was for. The strong Phantom can only offer continuous apologies, promising to treat him to a meal next time. Hearing this, Gao Shuxia's anger only subsided a little. She softly made a sound to indicate she wanted the most expensive item. Then he let the Phantom go in first to the auction house. He still had to wait for the iced tea. A moment later, Gao Shuxia came into the auction house carrying a box of iced tea. And for safety reasons, the celebrities were seated in the front row positions, among which there is also W, the queen of the country, and the president of the Player Association of F Country. Then he found his place, just sat down and started chatting with the person next to me. But in the next second he was stunned. Unexpectedly, it's Mr. Head of Chicken just separated from me. He thought the phantom was sitting in a random position, then whispered to him that all the seats are already assigned. Do not sit anywhere randomly. However, the illusion took out an invitation letter indicating that his position was like this. And when he saw clearly the invitation letter in Illusion's hand, he felt slightly surprised. This turned out to be a ticket for the VIP section. Even his abilities could only get him a lower-level entry ticket. Then he suddenly realized, the outfit on the Phantom is quite expensive. Phantom has only been in the industry for 2 months. Where did you get all this money? In an instant, a notion flashed through his mind. Don't tell me you did something yesterday. The money won from gambling is all gone, but still, these are tickets for the VIP seats. You can't necessarily buy it with money. Where did you get this from? The illusion told him. These are all prepared by President Shen Dejing for himself. Even the clothes and hotel are included. Wen Yan Gao suddenly understood from the high script. Great enlightenment, that's how it is. It seems the provincial governor places a lot of importance on you. This is how I'm treating you as my successor. After all, this VIP invitation card. But only the highest levels of each country. Only people with talent can get it. That is to say, you are as president. The agent came to attend this auction. The ancient literary figure helplessly scratched his head. No wonder Dejing. He even specially sent him a set of clothes. This is High Book's illustration style. Changing. Looks very serious. Expressing that he isn't here just for fun today either. First, do your own job well. They secretly ridicule this phantom. People gambling during work hours. Are you qualified to say that? But I am somewhat relieved about one thing. His seat is also here. He originally planned to handle the hound alone, but after reviewing that guy's memories yesterday, he changed his mind about that plan. Because now, with just him alone, he still cannot match up to Alma. So after the battle begins, he must accept the help from both the Qi and Mei Wang guilds, no matter what. If the rumors about the tall tree are true, then not only can he hold the Western Paradise, but also ensure everyone here is safe. Following that, with a beam of light falling down, the auction officially begins. The auction items are all super luxurious attribute gear. Soon, one after another, the equipment was sold off. However, so far Phantom has only bought one item. This made Gao Shusha think. He wasn't interested in the equipment, but the fact was that he was very interested in the equipment. But the problem is that the equipment being auctioned here is still not as good as what he used to have. Then another piece of equipment was brought up again. It's called the Enigma Ball. Rewards from a secondary copy on the second floor. However, over 20 years later, no one has ever figured out its purpose. Just then, a buzzing sound flashed through the Phantom's mind. His first-level skill, Sharp Perception Feeling, seemed to activate on its own. This is extremely strange to Phantom. Could it be that the ball triggered his skill? But I still don't quite understand. Why would the skill activate on its own? But the Phantom still chose to believe in him. This time, he pressed the bidding button in his hand to bid on it. And finally, this was today's finale item of the auction. It was discovered from the second-floor ancient domain and is a top-grade magic item. From West Heaven, among which it has extremely high magical value. They say that the energy generated by just him it can make a city run. But the estimated price would probably be beyond imagination. But ultimately, it still depends on the bids from world leaders. Soon, in the round of bids from everyone, the price kept rising. It quickly reached 4.5 billion, 5 billion, and 6 billion suddenly surged up from this. 10 billion. The ceiling above the host suddenly broke open. Large stones fell down one after another. By the time the dust settled, the scene was in chaos. But the host was unharmed, only to see Xia Renhao blocking in front of him. He erected a barrier to protect everyone. Seeing this illusory figure couldn't help but silently praise. Actually being able to splash raise such a powerful magical barrier. No wonder everyone calls him the Guardian Knight. Just saw many skeleton soldiers fall from above, rushing one after another to attack the barrier. Uncle Gao guessed it right away. This must definitely be done by Mo Ren. Only they would do something so crazy. But who exactly summoned those skeletons? This is a phantom. Zombified street. Could it be the skeletons from Shitguo? Who committed the massacre? After all, this isn't ordinary skill. He said this to hand over the scene to Senior Gao for handling, to hint at the information he knows. Senior Gao then gave orders to the guard team. First, organize the guests to leave before protecting the auction items. Then he asked Xia Renhao to take down Young Heaven. Take it from the west side. Then they go find the skeletal mage. After saying that, he turned around and wanted Phantom to help. However, in just a moment's time, the illusion has vanished right there. And the scene was already in chaos. People rushed to leave here in a hurry. They rushed towards the exit in a hurry. A small door. For a moment, it was impossible to disperse the crowd. Seeing this scene, his fist tightened. Power converged at one point. With domineering force, he punched out. In an instant, a huge hole was blasted in the wall beyond 2.5 meters. He then shouted to have everyone leave from here. But Xia Renhao felt headache seeing this scene. The walls of this building are quite expensive. Gao Shuxia coldly hummed. Now, saving people is important. There's no time to fuss over such trivial matters anymore. Written in classical Chinese can be scary, sighed helplessly. Then you write a self-criticism later. Don't expose me then. Just as this happened, a spatial black hole appeared in front of him. A bullet shot out from within it, with lightning speed piercing his body. Under Haishu's incredulous gaze, a snowflake splashes up. Xiao Renhao subsequently fell backward weakly. This also leads to the barrier being instantly breached. The army of skeletons, they flooded into the auction venue. Seeing this scene, Gao Shuxia is already prepared for a great battle. His hand flickers with a faint flame. What a bunch of guys to make me furious. He then moved swiftly and charged towards the army of skeletons. The next moment, a huge impact echoed through the night sky. The army of skeletons was instantly devoured by raging flames. The flickering flames lit up the night, before it could turn Yuya into a sea of fire. This scene. The huntress woman far away sensed. Unbelievable. Is it really something that humans can do? Not surprisingly, you have the S-rank strongest skill. Hanabi, the controller's woman. Absolutely not. To confront head-on. Just do your sniper's job well. He checked the scene while doing so. Soon enough, the scattered items were discovered. Heavens west on the ground. Raise his hand to summon a spatial black hole. The next moment, paradise to the west appeared in his hand. He then called Alma. Tell him the task is completed. Upon hearing this, Alma urged him to hurry and avoid it. After hanging up, the woman rushed over. Unfortunately, I couldn't give Xu Junhao that little brat a good beating. But just then, he unexpectedly discovered Phantom's voice. It immediately made him ecstatic. Bastard, you're dead now. The plane raised its machine gun and aimed. He locked onto its head in an instant. While the gunshots rang out simultaneously, space before him suddenly manifested several spatial black holes. The bullets penetrated through space under his influence, instantly arriving in front of the illusion. But this ghostly strike, surprisingly, was dodged by the illusion. Seeing this, the woman felt incredulous. He's using teleportation to pull this off? At such an extreme distance, how could he possibly fail? This faithless one readies his gun again at the Phantom. A spatial black hole appears around him, but the Phantom remains unperturbed by this. But when he says, "Let me play hide-and-seek with you," the next moment, the entire person turned into a gas and vanished on the spot. This scene left the woman in disbelief. Even experts like Sha Rhino could not avoid his bullets. How could an ordinary new player manage to do that? At this moment, he sensed something amiss, because the illusion just ran from that direction. That was where he was. Before he could even make a move, frosty aura spread behind him, instantly freezing him in place, only to see the illusion appear like a ghost behind him. Coldness lingered around him. His eyes were icy cold. He walked towards him step by step with a long sword in hand. The woman loudly questioned him. "Who is this phantom voice?" The voice was cold and icy as it asked, "Do you know anything different about that?" She said lightly, "Even if you knew, what can you do about it? Anyway, after tonight, the hunting dog would disappear from this world forever." And on the other side, under the big tree, at the sand square, the skeletons beneath his feet had piled up into a small mountain.